Welcome back to Delta Green, another night at the opera. Delta Green, a game of cosmic horrors about the end of everything, about the destruction of your character's body and mind, about their destruction of their social life too. So if we think about characters as having physical, social, and mental attributes, this game destroys everything. We have a few characters who are down to how much willpower now, and some of them, yeah, it's sad is what I'm saying. But yeah, if you like this kind of stuff, stick around, follow, subscribe, bell icons on YouTube, chat with Acel, and so on. Did I already say this show is rated R? I think so. Who is with us today, Arcel?
Hi, I'm Briar, and I'm playing Dr. Alex Blair.
Are we R-Cell now?
Z-Cell.
Oh, yeah.
Did I say R-Cell? I meant Z-Cell.
I was a bit confused.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't even know if I've had any group playing R-Cell. That was random. It's going great over here.
I thought we got it. But anyway, this is Coach, and I'll be playing Agent Adrian Follows.
I'm Corvus, and I play Jareth Tristan.
I'm Harper, and I play Agent Sarah Gwen.
And today, aside from Happy Thanksgiving to all the Americans out there, is actually not Thanksgiving Day in 2025. It is in fact June 2nd, 1998. Or is it? I need to double check that. It is June 1998. And yeah, it's actually June 6th. So, boom. There we go. And of course, we all know that June 6th is an amazing day because that is the National Day of Sweden. So, the more you know. It's been 8 months, roughly, since you were in moist, foggy, chilly Glenridge, chasing after a chiropractor who you don't know whether you actually destroyed, whether it's still out there somewhere. You saw it, you fought it. It disappeared in the night. It killed once more. Was it before or after the fight with you? Hard to tell exactly with autopsies and so on. And then it's never killed again. 4 people fell victim to the Glenridge chiropractor in Glenridge. And then it stopped, as suddenly as it started. I think the community of Glenridge, having been so much on edge over that particular Halloween, I think they've probably spent their Thanksgiving just giving thanks that nobody else has been killed. I think the people of Glenridge since then have maybe started to relax a little bit. But you wouldn't know because you've been on other cases across the country, doing other things, possibly starting to relax as well. It's been so long since Acel called you in. Like Blair, for example. How is Blair feeling? Mental state at the moment now, this early June 1998, when, you know, you had 1997. It was a lot, wasn't it?
Yep. Blair is probably a bit better now, but at the same time, she's slowly getting paranoid about when they're gonna get the call.
Yeah, that makes sense. The longer the time goes, the more she makes sure to keep that phone, the special phone, close by, right?
Yep.
Tristan!
What's up?
Yeah, that is the question. What is up in his mind? You're fully healed. I'm sure there's a dream or two every once in a while, but through Dr. Blair's therapy, honestly, you're feeling like you have a lid on it, basically. You have control over the past trauma. You might remember things now and then, possibly a nightmare about flying over a small town and
A
Long
new fear
Island.
of heights.
Not so much that it actually impacts your work or your day-to-day life. It's not a full-blown phobia at this point.
Yeah.
It might become one, but for now it's not. You haven't felt so mentally stable in a while because you're sitting on a wonderful whooping lots of sanity for being you. How about that special phone? How far away is he keeping it?
He has it in his pocket at all times, even at like family events or something, because he knows as soon as he gets that call, it's go time. Even though he doesn't want to answer it now, after everything, I don't want to do this. But he knows he has to. So he keeps it on him at all times until he gets that dreaded phone call.
Sooner or later it's gonna come, but you're gonna be fine, right? You're gonna be fine. You've survived the Glen Chiropractor. You're gonna be fine. You survived the McAllister building and the chiropractor. It's gonna be fine, right, Kristen?
Yeah, totally, I say as I'm getting dragged into a mental hospital.
Not yet. Fellas. Not quite the rookie anymore because you've actually been through an official op.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't really see or be involved outside of too much. I did some sketchy stuff. I lied to some police. I did some B&E. We snuck into a child's bedroom at night. No comment. But beyond all that, when push came to shove, they were out here fighting a Mothman, running a Yapa in a tree, and getting in a gunfight in the middle of the street, and ultimately driving it away. So
Yeah.
I feel like I played a pretty big support role, but otherwise just didn't really do too much, which I'm fine with. But
let's go with that. If this is the job description, I'm good with that.
yeah, if I'm helping the heavy hitters get to where they need to be, I can do that.
It's always hard to lose someone on the team, but that can happen in any job in law enforcement. It's expected. You're literally putting your life on the line, and it doesn't matter if it's a thin blue line or a thin green line.
Yeah. And out of character, I know that I also would have critically failed that exact same check if I rolled that, so I don't say anything about it.
Yeah.
These streets are dangerous.
Where's the phone? The company phone? The group's
I keep
phone?
it in the bag with my big clunky laptop and my pager and all my other stuff that I have to keep around for the job and the lifestyle as it is.
Gwen, you work mostly in the lab during the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a very controlled lab.
Very nice controlled space. You can control all the variables, isolate them properly. You have your test tubes, your beakers, your indicator fluids. I don't know chemistry enough. I remember high school chemistry, that's all. Yay. Harper knows this much better than the storyteller does. But you have also like the ventilator, what do you call them? Cabinets with the ventilators in.
Fume hood?
Yes, the fume hoods. That's the one. And all the other electronic machines, digital machines that you use to actually measure the things you put into them, the samples. Also, microscopes! Microscopes! I knew that.
Yes.
Do they have that machine that spins all the beakers around really quick?
Yeah.
The centrifuge? Yeah.
There we go.
See, we know this stuff. We keep up with the cool lab kids.
The medical merry-go-round? That's what we call it.
The medical go-around. Okay, that is the name now. It's an official name, and it will never go away. Yeah, Gwen has in fact never been on an op and is a Delta Green rookie. Virgin. maybe a little bit rattled still by the whole being recruited into a conspiracy, and I hope you had the chance to read the notes that I sent from Professor Emerson.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, I read over those.
Yep. That was completely normal stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. Speaking as Harper, that's not normal. That really isn't, but I guess speaking as Gwen, a lot of stuff in the lab now makes a lot more sense, knowing that they weren't always dealing with above board materials.
For now, for the past several months, it has been a very above board materials.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the phone, Gwen? Where's the phone?
I think when she's in the lab, it's probably with the rest of her stuff. It's in the area where you have to switch between your coat and your...
Yeah, so is
Or
there
not coat, but
lockers, a bunch
PPE.
of lockers there, maybe? Yeah.
Yep.
It would be
I don't
weird
think
to
she-
bring out the phone in the middle when you're covered in hazmat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when she's at home, too, she just trusts Dristan with the phone duty a bit more, because she doesn't really know what she's doing. And he seems to know what he's doing. So... It's usually on a coffee table.
That's very safe. Yeah. Unfortunately, Morrigan, also known as Agent Zaina, will be joining us maybe next week because she's busy. The player's busy with other things. They're busy with other things. But that's okay because at 7 a.m. this morning in June, Agent Zaki, that's Dr. Blair, you get the phone call.
Oh no. She picks up the call.
It's an automated voice in a very sing-songy synthetic style saying, "Hello, you are cordially invited to a night at the opera." And there is basically an attached, it also says, "Call your travel agent at," and then you get a number.
Okay. She'll hang up and call the other number to set things up.
Yep. At the other end of the phone, it just one single signal goes through before someone picks up the phone at the other side, and you hear, "Irene?"
Wait, what?
This is Agent Irene.
Oh, this is Agent Zaki. I'm just here to
Another
connect and
fan of
figure
the
out where I'm
operas.
being... Yep.
Excellent. Our mutual friend Alphonse told me you'd be calling soon. So here's the lowdown. You and your other opera enthusiastic friends are to come out to Montpellier Airport in Vermont as quickly as you possibly can. This time, I'm afraid your official work role won't be covering what you're doing. You'll have to pay for travel yourselves. You are not going to be here officially. You'll be here quietly and unofficially. You're not to operate in your usual capacity as law enforcement. Send
All right.
arrival times to me by email, and she'll give you an address, which is filled with, I think it's going to be like Miss Green 2037 at yahoo.com or something. Or to this number. Call me on this number. I'll be waiting in the baggage claim area with a sign for Mr. Green.
All right. I'll be sure to get that all set up then.
Excellent. Be seeing you.
Be seeing you.
Now, I am Canadian and European, so I don't know how Americans pronounce the name for that city in Vermont that was founded by the French, which is spelled like Montpellier, but it's probably not pronounced like that because Americans never pronounce it correctly. You always pronounce it correctly because it's your country, so it's Montpel. I don't know. Anyone know how it's pronounced?
Nope.
Montpelier?
I'll go with Montpellier. Yeah.
That sounds correct enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got a vibe. That's how it was supposed to be.
I'll go with you. I'll trust you guys. You're the Yanks. Yeah. No, because I live out an hour from the border with Maine, and the small town on the other side that connects to our side of the border is... The name of that town is spelled exactly like the name of the French town of Calais, across from Dover, that city. But the Americans who live in that town call it Calais, because of course they do. It was named Calais, by the way, apparently because to honor the help of the French during the American Revolution. Go figure. But it's Calais, Maine, not Calais, Maine. So there's gonna be some weird pronunciation for Montpellier as well. Montpellier. Ah, never mind. Back to the story. Blair, you have just gotten contact. You've just been Z-Cell is activated. And it's 7 o'clock on Saturday. Where are you at this particular moment? You're probably lying in your bed, I'm thinking, because it's Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, Blair would have just been resting at home, though now she's getting up and starting to get the tickets and such that they need.
Well, the good news is you don't have a significant other living with you, so you don't have to explain anything to them. Is that really good news, though? Isn't it sad when you think about it? Agent Blair at home, alone. How big is this home? What does it look like? Please, describe it a little bit for us. We don't know much about Blair's home life.
I'd say it's rather simple, 1-story, 3-bedroom house, and not much is there. She's I can't pronounce it, but yeah, she's not one to she's not one to decorate or really do anything grand with it.
Considered the eccentric one on the block, no doubt, in the subdivision. Seeing as she's now in her 40s and living alone.
Yep.
But she's also respected, I'm sure, because she is in fact a medical doctor, and medical doctors are always respected.
Totally.
So, what is the first thing Dr. Blair will do now that the phone, still slightly warm in your hand from the activation call, is still in your hand? And yeah, I guess there is like the wave in your body that goes from everything was normal and a little bit of tension in the back of in my back, along the spine, the longer it goes without a call, but just enjoying mundane life, and then boom, you're in it again.
Yep, she's just so tired, but she's just going to go ahead, make the travel plans, get the tickets, and then grabbing her to-go bag.
Yeah, about that. Since it's Saturday, and since Blair is a highly intelligent person, you're free today and tomorrow from work because it's a weekend. Monday, not so much. So if you're supposed to go to Vermont and be there for a while, do you think you'll be able to, that Z-Cell will be able to crack the case in a day and a half?
No. I know for her personally, she's just going to call out sick.
She'll call out sick, very well. Yeah.
She's a doctor. She knows what she's talking about.
I'm sorry, boss. Yeah, okay. That might work. We'll see when we get there. Meanwhile, you have some calls to make, don't you?
Yeah.
Getting yourself a ticket from DC to Montpelier Airport in Vermont is not terribly hard. It's June, there are definitely people going there for weekends and vacations, I guess, because it's Vermont, it's backcountry. If you go to hike in the forests, there's few better places, I guess. There are all sorts of places to hike in forests in the US, but this is one of them, so it's probably one of the prime spots. But the big vacation time of year hasn't started yet because we're still in June, not July. So should be easy enough to get yourself a flight ticket there. But you also have to activate the rest of your cell, don't you?
Yeah. Once she's done setting up, she'll start calling everybody.
Are you gonna buy tickets for all the members of the cell? Because that's more of a lot. Blair has a good salary, I guess, and some money put away in a bank account somewhere, but it's gonna be more, unless you want them to pay their own way, of course.
I think that's something I'm gonna have to talk about. Blair's gonna have to talk about with each character.
All right, so
Well, on the phone.
who are you calling first?
Let's say Tristan.
Very well. What is Tristan doing at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning?
He's probably like just waking up inside like a hotel. Because he likes to travel sometimes.
Uh-huh.
So he's just chilling there. And then he receives Blair's call.
Where is this hotel in the world?
Somewhere not far from where he usually is. Not somewhere like too luxurious. Enough to be like, huh, this is nice.
So, from DC, if that is your main working station, I guess that would be Virginia or Maryland or something like that. Pennsylvania.
Maryland sounds about right.
Maybe he was getting ready for a fishing trip, getting aboard ocean style, going out on a boat, catch a shark or five, or I don't know. I don't know what kind of fishing you do off the coast of Maryland. I have no idea. But regardless of what plans you had, that phone rings.
He picks it up. Hello.
Hello, it's Zaki. We've got another mission, but this one, we're not going there as FBI.
Lovely, so we don't have nearly as much protection as we usually do.
Correct. So this is off the books, whether you can get time off somehow, whether that's being faking sick or vacation or whatever. But it's in Vermont. We're supposed to be meeting somebody in the state at the airport who I assume will be properly filling us in once we get there.
Understood. Anything else I should be aware of besides, obviously, no law protection?
Given that this is a mission for the FBI, we have to pay for our own stuff in this case. Are you going to be able to cover that?
Yeah, I can cover my own stuff. Maybe someone else's as well. I'm pretty good at managing my own money.
Alright. You're the first I called, so I'll call the others and see how things go. But
If you want to cover your time in half, I can inform at least one other person that's relatively near me.
Yeah, That works. And you know the newbie, right?
Yeah.
Alright. Then can you inform her?
That was the plan.
Alright. Then I'll just call Phallus next.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know.
Of course. I'll be seeing you soon.
See you soon. And then he hangs up the phone.
What might Phallus be doing at 7 on a Saturday?
Saturdays, he would probably start the weekend fairly early, regardless of how long he stayed up the night before. So he's probably at least on his second pot of coffee. And if he's not reading the newspaper, he's probably like looking at some like online forums or chat rooms or something, just brushing up on some information.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which is actually a thing you can do in 1998. There are bulletin boards, there are there are discussion forums. It's a thing now. You can discuss things online with others who aren't even computer geeks. Though Phallus probably is one, so yeah. You have, what is the latest processor available in 1998? I don't remember.
I'd have to take your word on that one.
It was... Oh, we had gone from 3 and 486s to megahertzes. So now it's an Intel Pentium 2 450 megahertz. Yeah.
Truly, this is the future.
It is. Okay, that's going to be released in August, so it's 333 then. 333 megahertz Pentium 2. Vroom! It's faster than a speeding bullet as far as you're concerned. And of course, the monitor is one of those big boxy ones, because flat screens aren't a thing yet. And that's where the phone rings. You have your coffee, you have your screen, you have your keyboard, and you have... What is the sound of your phone?
That one, if they just had a straight vibrate feature back then, that one would probably just be a vibrate.
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah, when I'm at home, I'll leave that in like a glass bowl with my keys. So if it ever does vibrate from across the room, I hear it a little better. And probably panic as I rush across the room to pick it up.
Yep. It's time to panic. This 1998, Nokia is the best-selling phone in the world. You know, the Finnish company.
Haha.
Yeah. Just so you know. Just observe, I'm putting it in the Discord here. Observe the amazingness of the new phones. They actually look like not bricks anymore. They're easy to carry in your pocket.
The good old days.
Good old days.
I genuinely had one of those.
Anyway. Yeah, you're picking up your phone and on the other end is...
This is Agent Saki.
Xander.
We've got another mission, but this one isn't FBI related.
Oh.
Yes. So we're paying out of pocket, figuring off time off, and flying off to Vermont.
Oh, we're in Vermont. I'm next door in Maine.
Oh. We're going to... What was the town name again?
Montpelier.
Okay, yeah. We're going to Montpelier.
Oh, cool. That's 3-ish hours from me. I'm in Lewiston.
Alright. That's easy for you, at least. We'll be meeting at an airport with somebody from Delta Green.
Okay. Did you need me to stop and grab anything on the way? You can't fly with guns. I can hit a mom and pop gun shop on the way, grab a shotgun or two.
In 1998, you actually can fly with guns if you're a law enforcement officer.
Oh,
without
hell yeah.
Too much problem. This is before 9/11. Gun security on airplanes are considerably less stringent.
Neat.
I guess we don't have to worry then.
Not really, as long as you have your badge and go, they'll be, okay, fine.
Now, I have a question.
Yep.
Since one of my, personal... Ooh, what's it called? The personal things we did.
Personal pursuits?
Pursuits, yes, I could not remember the word. Since one of my personal pursuits was increasing my firearm skill, could it be presumed that I bought a firearm in the process of doing that?
Sure. You
Neat.
can have a firearm. A private one,
Neat.
not issued by
Yeah.
the Bureau.
I will have a privately owned shotgun that I will drive with in the trunk in my 89 Grand Marquis.
Very well.
We're station wagon.
Ah. Yes. That works. Yeah, it's only 10 years old. Not even. Well, Gwyn, what are you doing at 7 in the morning?
I think since Dristan's not at their shared house, she's probably up working on lab reports. Just spending her weekend clicking away on the keyboard.
You guys just don't have a life, do you?
No,
Oh.
no, not really. We don't. We really don't.
The only
Nope.
one with a significant other is Morrigan.
Yeah.
Nobody else has to
Yeah.
lie their way through the morning going, I'm so sorry, work called in, sweetie. I love you, see you later, and then call the boss and go, I'm so sick. I need a
Yeah.
few vacation days because my nana is very sick. Yes.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Totally.
It's sad how lonely Delta Green. Don't join Delta Green if you want to have a social life, okay? That's just a piece of advice here.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, we're going to make coordinations here so that everybody can arrive at the airport at a pre-designated time and congregate all at once at Agent Irene, who will be carrying a sign for Mr. Green. I guess it's going to be Mr. and Mrs. Green. And how quickly can we possibly make this happen? Where is Gwen in the world?
Okay, I'm gonna pull Corvus in on this. Where would they live?
They'd be in DC. I don't
Okay.
think, unless they pulled their stuff together, that they'd have a house. So it'd probably be like a apartment thing for now, at least.
Yeah. DC.
Very well. So, going from DC to Montpellier. Dang. I don't know how it's pronounced. Anyway, it's Burlington International Airport. That's what it's called. It's an hour and a half, just about, to go there. And I don't know how many aircraft there might be per day leaving DC on a typical Saturday. But I don't think you're going to be arriving by noon, let's say. Everybody needs to pack your bags, get to the airport in DC. If Tristan is in Maryland, but I guess it's not too far away from.
Sarah could probably also just grab the go bag since she's
Yeah.
still at the house.
So for Blair and Gwyn, it's just go bag. For Phallus, you're getting into the car and you're driving for a few hours, which is going to be actually pretty much the same time as the rest are.
Yes, but I can smoke.
Yes, but It's 1998. Everybody can smoke.
Even on the plane?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Sarah's probably just gonna give you a bit of a look and keep her mouth shut.
Yeah, there was a smoking section back in those days. I think there was still. Don't remember when the whole smoking was completely banned from flights. I think that's a 2000s thing.
It's been so long, I don't remember. I remember I flew immediately after 9/11 because I was a child model and I had to fly to LA.
Really?
But yeah, insane stuff. But anyway, I don't remember there being smoke on the plane, but it was a pretty big
you're
jet.
right. The United States banned smoking on all domestic flights in 1990. So, you're right. International flights 2000.
Weird.
You're right. No smoking on the flights. All right, so you're going to fly to Burlington, and then you'll have to drive for about an hour to Montpellier, apparently.
So I'm presuming we rented a car, or did we just steal Phallus's car?
It does have the normal amount of seats that we could fit in, and then the back of the Grand Marnier or whatever it was. I forget actually. Anyway, it's 2 separate rows facing each other in the back, like left and right.
Yeah.
So effectively, I could fit like 6 to 8 people comfortably, 9 to 10 if we stack people.
Do we all have seatbelts?
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Okay.
But we're meeting at the airport, so
Yeah.
they might have a car for us there. We've all got to meet up there first.
You're probably going to take... The cell is probably going to take up to some 8 hours, provided you have go bags and just ready to leave at a moment's notice from your... Isn't it great that you don't have any pets, so you don't really have to call someone to house watch the cat or walk your dog? Though I guess you could bring the pets. Anyway, it makes life much easier as the fewer attachments you have, it's just easier to be a Delta Green agent that way. So you are going to arrive somewhere around 2 p.m. in Montpellier, something like that. The meeting place is still the same, and Blair will of course be coordinating with Agent Irene on the way as everybody's calling back and forth. It's going to be a lot of calling in the next hour or two, Blair, as people are giving you updates on exactly when they might be arriving and so on and so forth. And I think Phallus might actually be the first one to arrive, because you can literally just leave the place you're at, check out immediately, you're out the door in half an hour, and then it's a 3-hour drive and you're there and it's 10:30 and everybody else has to get there. Yeah,
I have a nice lunch, enjoy the city a little bit, and I'll even get to the airport like an hour to half hour earlier than expected to browse the little kiosks and the souvenir stands and see if I can pick out who Agent Irene will be before she puts the sign up.
That's an interesting challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a people watching trick. I don't expect to be at all successful.
Your human is a 60. Why don't we give you... I'm gonna do a fun roll here just because I can. It's gonna be her stealth versus your human. You both fail.
So when it's contested, isn't it's like the higher one or the lower one? I don't remember what the rule is.
In this case, it won't matter because you are looking at all the wrong people.
Okay.
For simplicity's sake.
Makes sense to me.
In this case, are Dristan and Gwyn taking the same flight?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Blair is taking a different flight and just being rude, because you're basically just going to the airport and booking, going up to whichever airline and just booking, I want to get through to this city. And for some of you, it might be going straight. For another, you might need to go through Philadelphia or even New York to get there, like a connecting flight, because this is definitely not a big hub you're going to. So it's going to be all sorts of annoying little trickeries to get to your final destination. It's almost like I guess it's still quicker than driving from DC, but not by that much, all things considered. And as one by one you are arriving out there, Phallus, you've been sitting at a cafe there for a while outside the rivals and just reading the paper, or you might have a laptop, Phallus. I don't know. There are laptops in 1998.
Yeah, I have one. I would have brought it.
So you're sitting there with your laptop and just enjoying some screen time. Possibly playing Civilization 2. Who knows? When did Civilization 2 come out? These are important things to ask.
When did Unreal Tournament come out? Is the real question.
Civilization 2 came out in 96. So see, it's available. Anyway, one by one, the others are arriving, and we're just gonna do a luck check here to see who's coming first. Is it Tristan and Gwen, or is it Blair? Let's go. Blair, let's see.
Okay.
It's Blair, which means that you have coordinated with Agent Irene to rendezvous with Mr. and Mrs. Green, which is Tristan and Gwen. Just as it happens. Oh my. Are they actually gonna have like a romantic part? Anyway, this is where they began, Mr. and Mrs. Green. They're not Mr. and Mrs. Green yet, but they can pretend to be. So that the rendezvous is when Tristan and Gwen arrives at the airport and comes out of the arrivals gates, which means that Blair and Phallus will meet with each other as Blair comes out from, maybe you're arriving like an hour earlier, Blair, and Phallus is there, and you can shake each other's hands and talk to each other a little bit before Tristan and Gwen arrives. What might you catch up on? Look at that. A familiar face, Phallus. You haven't seen her for 8 months, probably.
Since the funeral.
Right.
Is Blair still wearing black?
No, she's just in business casual clothes with her white doctor coat on, which she just wears all the time.
She's wearing
he'll go ahead
coat when she is not doctoring?
Yes.
That is really weird. Are you doing like doctor cos? I think people would treat you as, is she doing doctor cosplay right now? This is so weird. No other doctor goes dressed with a doctor's coat when they're not officially on duty. But fair enough. I know who's gonna get called up on the airplane if there's a medical emergency. I'm just saying. Is there a doctor? Oh yeah, there's a doctor on board.
I'll go ahead and greet with Doctor. It's been a while.
That it has.
Have you heard from anyone else since the funeral?
Well, there was a family dinner event that Tristan and Gwen made that I was at, but that was it.
Oh, yeah. How did that go, by the way?
Not well. There was a fight between two mothers.
Oh, that should have seen that one coming.
Yeah.
In that case, I'll awkwardly look around and see some like Vermont themed souvenir, maybe a keychain, and I'll be like, souvenir?
Well, I'm good for now.
And at that point, I'll turn my gaze back to the crowd and be like, I couldn't figure out which one Irene was.
Not yet. Blair's gonna look around and see if she can spot Irene.
You're working on that, and it's gonna take you a little while. Okay, let's see if you can spot Irene, Blair.
Which roll is it? Humid?
Yes, please. Look at that. You are gonna spot Irene before she spots any of you, because you're gonna see that she's gonna come in with, and she's coming in like a good 15-ish minutes before the flight is supposed to arrive, so she has plenty of time before Tristan and Gwen arrives. And she's gonna set herself up outside the arrivals and present a sign saying Mr. and Mrs. Green. She is dark-haired, in her late 40s. She has huge glasses and is dressed in hiking clothes. She, because of her age, she's no longer super fit. But at least she seems like someone who has been, her skin is that of someone who has been outdoors a lot in her life. Yeah, she's older than any one of you. But Blair, not by much. Maybe just 5 years on you or something like that.
I don't know.
Do we need to update Blair's token picture so it reflects her age? Because you've aged since you started this, haven't you?
Yeah.
7 years is all of this started. Yeah, so that's her. What do you want to do about it, aside from gossiping with Phallus?
Blair will point her out to Phallus first. Just subtly.
Then yeah, I probably wouldn't go to approach until she at least makes contact with another agent to kind of see how that goes.
Very well.
Yeah, Blair's gonna wait for Tristan and Glen.
Indeed. Sure enough, Tristan and Gwen. It's been a really weird trip for you guys because all the connections and everything made it so that you didn't really have time for lunch, and they didn't serve much on the flights. Stomachs are growling. But you are here now. Isn't it great? You're in Montpelier.
Since we're like both hungry, I'm gonna immediately look for a pack of jerky or like pistachios.
Same.
As you're coming out of the flight and at the arrivals, and you're all lightly packed, I guess. You have some change of clothes, the go bag. Do you have, I don't know that you did a whole lot of packing otherwise. So you didn't have to wait for suitcases, or did you?
Sarah probably just threw everything in a bag and went to go get Tristan, and probably wasn't a lot of packing.
Probably not. This airport is not huge, let's just say. It's an international airport because I'm sure they have flights to Canada, but yeah, it's not huge. On this day, it's damp. It's not really raining. It's just damp and cool. with a nice mid-50s Fahrenheit at this particular time. Summer is here, you guys! Tristan and Gwen, you're coming out of the arrivals, and you're coming out from the baggage areas, and you're coming into the arrival zone. And that lady standing there with a sign saying Mr. and Mrs. Green. You don't see any of your other, I was gonna say cellmates.
We basically are criminals, so...
Not yet. You haven't done a criminal... Okay, you've done a bunch of criminal things.
Yeah.
We
just
haven't
haven't
been
been
convicted of
caught.
anything yet.
Yeah.
You haven't been
Phallus
convicted.
snuck into a kid's bedroom. I'm pretty sure that's criminal.
Yeah, that
So
was
I
entirely
wasn't alone.
criminal. Yes.
When we
I
burnt
had an
down the
accomplice.
building.
So, arson, attempted murder, breaking and entering, robbery...
One or two maybe illegal things. Yes, that is. Nobody has
likely.
been able to trace it back to you, though. Because forensic skills are amazing, aren't they?
Yes.
Illegal, yes. Immoral, yeah.
We're gonna do it anyway? Yeah.
Also, yes. Yeah. Tristan and Gwen, again, Agent Irene, I guess it is. If Blair told you about Agent Irene, I'm assuming she did. You don't
Yeah.
see some Blair. And Morrigan is gonna be here, but we'll discuss that next session about exactly how she joins.
I guess that's us.
Yep.
Let's go meet with her and wait for the rest of our people, and you'll start walking.
Yep.
Right. As you walk up to her, she will say, Mr. and Mrs. Green,
That's,
with a
Huh?
wry smile.
Good to meet you.
Irene, she says. She introduces herself as, and she will shake both of your hands. Welcome to Vermont. Blair, fellas, you're up.
Yeah, Blair's gonna head on over now.
I'll go with.
And she will see you as you're approaching and nod contentedly. And introduce herself again. Blair, Irene. She doesn't know that your name is Blair. She's not supposed to know that, so she didn't say that. She said Irene.
Exactly.
That was the handler looking at Blair's token while trying to say Irene. It glitched in his brain. It didn't work out. So she introduced herself as Irene and so on. Welcome to Vermont, everybody. I hope you had a decent trip. You have all your stuff. I have a van parked outside. Do you have a vehicle here, or how do you want to go about this?
I drove, but if you have a van, we could use that. That'd be fine.
All right. I figure we can talk details in the van, and I can drive around for a bit. We can come back here and pick up your vehicle, and then we'll get all set up. All right, let's go. She clearly doesn't want to speak details out here about around everybody else.
If we're gonna have to turn back around to grab vehicles anyway, I will instead just be like, let's just take the car.
How about I do a quick briefing in the van and then you take the car, she says.
Okay.
Alright. So yeah, she will lead you over to a van that is probably about 15 years old, something like that. And she's gonna just pull out the side door, let you all get in there. She's gonna get in after all of you all and close it behind you and sit down. Alright, welcome to Vermont, Z-Cell. You already know I'm Agent Irene of iCell, and I am here to be an advisor This is by instruction of Agent Alphonse. The bad news, I'm sure that Agent Zaki has already... Sorry, didn't mean to roll that. Agent Zaki has already briefed you that you are not here in an official capacity. You'll have to play it by ear, but Alphonse did not... He told me, at least, that he did not want to prejudice this by alerting local authorities to your presence. He wants to keep this as quiet as possible. So I guess you're gonna be tourists around here. That's the bad news. The good news, I guess, she says, is that you are here for research purposes. If things get real, ask me first. I will then connect with Alphonse and ask for the next step, okay? We are not here to be cowboys. We're here to do research. You are here to do research. I'm here to advise you. You can ask me questions. But Alphonse does not want me to compromise your understanding of this case with my predetermined ideas. And so ask questions. I will not be... This is your baby. I'm not your team leader. I'm just an advisor. ICEL was in the area on an unrelated case a few years ago. This is why I'm here now. I have a few connections to friendlies around here. We're going to introduce you to those friendlies today. Hopefully we can activate them. Hopefully they can help you get familiar with the locals. They live here in the area where we're going. So we're going to an area called Owlshead. It's very isolated. Logging industry. There are 3 or 4, let's call it half a dozen small towns around in the valleys there. I've been around in all of those towns, so I can give you like first introduction. 2 surveyors have gone missing on Owlshead Mountain. Your job is to ascertain if they went missing because of anything unnatural. That's all. If you establish that there is something unnatural here, then possibly we will pull out. So again, you're not here to be cowboys. You're here to do research. This research might be done in a library. It might also be done on the streets. It's up to you to decide.
So let me rephrase this. Don't do what we usually do, and when we find out what this is, try to kill it. Just research whatever this is, come back to you, you tell Alphonse, and then leave. We're good to go, unless Alphonse specifically says, okay, kill it.
Yeah, that's basically the situation.
Okay. Let's hope we don't get assigned to kill it.
What's the lab situation like here?
I'm sorry, there's no lab.
Do they have a high school science class or something nearby?
I'm sure there is a high school in the area. I just don't know how you would be able to access the lab there. Remember, you're going to be tourists. You can't
Isn't
flash
our
your
first
badges
time
on this.
breaking and entering?
That's... That is a possibility. Just don't do it so anyone notices. Now, the drive to Townsend will take a little while, of course, because it's not civilization, the strictest meaning of the word. So, you will have to decide, I suppose, if you want to do any research here in Montpellier town before we leave, or if you want to go up there and take a walk around in the area first. How many of you have experience hiking in the woods?
I have experience hiking on trails.
Well,
I
that's
hike
something.
occasionally.
That's
Didn't
something, I guess.
really.
Maybe we should stop for a topographical map or something.
Oh, I have some material like that.
Cool.
In fact, boom.
Oh.
Old Thomas, I've marked it on the map here, is one of our friendlies that we're gonna connect with. I'll take you out to his shack. He's a native. Knows the area very well indeed. So you can't go wrong with him as a guide.
What's the fire damage from?
This is a logging district. And lots of forests around here. There's gonna be forest fires.
Hmm.
As you can tell, these communities are not particularly large. There might be like 1,000 people altogether in the valley, spread out between these various communities.
Understood.
Our other friendly, when I was here last, he worked with the sheriff's department. I hope he still does, because that would be good for us.
Indeed.
So how do you want to play this? Z-Cell, it's your show. It's your opera.
If we're tourists, is there anything worth visiting for, or just camping, backpacking type experience?
Yeah, it's camping and backpacking. Quite a few people do that up here, and I think the locals will tell you that some people overestimate their own abilities of navigating the forests. I don't know that.
Then yeah.
I don't know that Alphonse would have reacted to a couple of tourists disappearing up here in the mountains. But it was surveyors. So here we are.
Then I'm thinking before we head out that way, we should probably go to some sort of like outdoor store and actually buy gear to camp because I know I didn't bring anything like that at all.
Yeah, I at least have my weapons and some basic stuff. I don't have camping equipment besides my work boots.
Are we planning on staying in the woods or staying at a hotel?
There's definitely a hotel.
But
I don't
if
think
we're
it's
trying-
season yet, so there should be.
But
there should be
if
options.
we're investigating the woods and trying to figure out what's in there, it would probably be stupid but more informative if we do a 24-hour surveillance in there.
And I'm
just
sorry, we
saying-
said the surveyors were missing or confirmed dead.
They're missing.
Okay.
I'm just saying, Dristan, there's a few too many stories of people getting eaten in the woods for me to be comfortable with this.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it's a stupid idea, but one that could probably be better on the back burner in case we go colds,
Yeah.
just to keep
Well,
our options open.
we'll need gear anyway, but yeah.
Essentials, obviously. I think a climbing kit, some gear, and all that little stuff that you look. I forget what's the word you drive it into like rock faces and stuff like that.
Clamps, I think? I'm not an
Quad?
outdoors person.
Four-wheeler?
I'll take your word for it. But yeah, like basic climbing gear would probably be like the only specialist stuff I can think to grab. It's mostly forest out there, so you wouldn't think it'd be that big a deal unless you need to scale a tree, but you never know.
Yeah.
They may have fell into a crag or something.
Before anything else, just a little starter information. At these locations where people disappeared, any strange smells, sounds, any weird oddities, stuff that's not meant to be there?
No idea. She says. I haven't myself
Understood.
I haven't gone in myself. This is your show. This is your opera.
Yeah.
I haven't done any investigation on this case at all yet. I was just told here to be told by Alphonse to come here and support you in an advisory capacity. That's it. I envision myself being in the valley, in the town, covering your back by making sure that nobody burglars your hotel rooms. How about that? She says and smiles a bit.
That'd be appreciated.
And of course, linking you up with the two friendlies that I have since a previous album. Unfortunately, she says we don't have a green box out here, because, frankly, yeah. There's been one Delta Green up in this area before that I know of, and Alphonse has declared it unrelated to this, so...
I think that's the third or fourth time Follis has heard the term green box, but still not fully sure what that is yet. But he also won't inquire, so...
Let's not waste any more time. Let's hook up with these people, these friendlies, and see what information they have, and then let's get this opera started.
Indeed. Alright, so you're gonna split yourselves into different vehicles, everybody. This is not Irene speaking, it's the handler asking. She
Can
has
I
the van.
sit on the roof?
Phallus has a car, and Tristan wants to sit on the roof for absolutely no reason.
I'm
And
joking.
Get cold immediately, and then he was never part of the army, because he was just a cop.
I was about to say, I'm gonna drag you down off that roof if you do that.
No, it was a joke.
Oh my god.
I know bad things happen in cars.
Really? What gave you
What?
that impression?
What bad things, yeah.
Can I drive?
No!
Oh.
Fair.
Alright. What are we listening to in the car while we're driving up to Vermont?
White girl
And
music.
mountains?
Yes.
I don't even know what that is, but that's okay.
I think we need to have-
California girls.
Maybe if you will at the store, we should get a big radio so we can blast white girl music in the forest so that the creatures don't attack us.
That's definitely gonna work.
Yes, every creature's worst fear, a white woman.
You just hear Kesha echoing off the trees. We are supposed to be tourists. Why not act like it?
That's a fair point, isn't it? What is that kind of music in this era? I am curious. Yeah.
Late 90s. That would have been... What's her name? Miley Cyrus, maybe?
It was a little early for that because Britney Spears was still a thing.
Miley Cyrus is... Yeah, Britney Spears is just getting going.
Yeah. I was born in 2006. I don't know any of this stuff.
Yeah, no, she's just... And Spice Girls have just become, like, really huge. I believe. They've had,
Okay,
like,
so-
the first big hit. See?
Yeah, maybe
Nice.
Spice Girls.
So modern music. Anyway. It's going to take you about 3 hours to get to Townsend. A 3-hour drive. And which is perfectly fine with Tristan and Gwen, because you're not I guess you're getting a drive-through and some chow. You will be going to you're driving on Route 89. That's the one that gets there. And yeah. 3-hour drive, and the further you drive, the more hilly the surroundings become, and that's why it's gonna be 2 to 3 hours to drive, because the roads are gonna start twisting and turning and twisting and turning and becoming less and less highway in the proper sense of the word, shall we say. It's gonna be around 4:30 in the afternoon. Imagine when you arrived here, when you woke up this morning, you were just in your normal zone, in doing your mundane, regular, everyday things. Not a care in the world, except that little itch between the shoulder blades that always say, maybe the phone will go off today. And it did, and now you are in the valley. Between mountains that have very round tops, in fact, and are also just absolutely covered in forest. Yeah, there's basically huge mounds of rock covered in near seamless canopy of fir trees up there. And it's cloudy, it's misty, and the town itself is not very large, as I mentioned. You have 4 towns, but they're like just packed into one another, so it could as well be a single one. In the center of Townsend is the Washington County Sheriff's Department, which is responsible for most of the valley. And a lot of the logging roads start from the outskirts of Townsend. Then you have Duxbury a little bit to the south. There's Waterbury, which is a tiny place that has several small motels, restaurants, gas stations, because it's close to the interstate. All the truckers and other traffic that is going between, I guess, Canada and the rest of Vermont goes by here. There is ski resort on nearby Mount Cobb, about 10 miles to the south, where people probably could work during the winters, but it is not winter now. There is a small hotel even in Duxbury, which is not a motel, it's a hotel, so you can live it up a little bit better there. Mill Village, mid-sized, supported by a local paper mill on the nearby Mad River. Picture perfect is what the town is. Very idyllic. With small red houses with white, what do you call it, corners? Yeah. Colbyville, a little bit to the north, is basically not really a town. It's an intersection with, 40 people living there? There is a Blue Moon Mall there in Townsend, which is also a central place for everybody to go to. So, it is almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon on this June when the two vehicles arrive in the valley. What do we want to do from here?
We should probably start by getting a hotel room or getting somewhere set up to operate.
That makes sense. Do you want to go for a hotel or a motel? How miserly are you with your money right now?
Probably motel in case we need the extra bit of cash.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And of course, around here, a motel will be like they are in so many other places. It could be a Motel 6 or one of these franchises. It's gonna have set of rooms along the boardwalk, and you have your local teen working at the counter. Almost gives you a little bit of a Groversville vibe, Blair, seeing the teen working there, but this teen is not speaking with a southern accent, which will immediately get you out of that feeling. 5 rooms in total, quickly booked. There's definitely room. This is not the high season for tourists yet, but it's also not so out of season that your presence is weirding anyone out at this stage, particularly not when you're bringing in all the camping equipment that you bought in Montpellier. And yeah, you're in town now. Do you want to have supper first?
Yeah, if somebody wants to go get food set up, I guess first thing first, we should try to figure out what areas they were surveying specifically. Was it just out here, or do we know if there was a specific mountain or area they were working on?
Sunset will be 8:30 this time of year, and sunrise will be around 7. You still have light for a while. So yeah, a quick bite at a local diner. We've done that before, haven't we?
Yep.
Irene is going to ask you as you're all ordering in. I don't know what you want to have for supper, but yeah. It's coming. Burgers, fries, local Vermont delicacies. I'm sure there's going to be stuff like venison and whatnot on the menu for steaks. It's what would you like? And as you're sitting there, Irene will ask you, all right, where you want to go first? We have 2 friendlies to look up here. One is Old Thomas, I mentioned him before, local woodsman. And the other is Mr. Warren Fitzgerald, who works with the Washington County Sheriff's Department.
The sheriff's department might be a good place to start for records and whatnot.
We don't have the clearance to get those, though.
No, but
If we're meeting,
Fitzgerald would.
if we're meeting with the friendly, then they know that we're here on official business.
Yeah,
True.
I haven't tapped Fitzgerald yet, says Irene. He doesn't know we're coming. But he is a friendly.
Then I'd say we should get in contact with him, and in the meantime, meet with old Thomas.
Very well. Do you think you can make it up to the cabin on your own? It's quite the hike.
We do have it marked on the map.
You do have it marked on the map.
How many hours a hike is that normally?
I'd say it's a couple of hours, yeah.
And yeah, if we want to go ahead and get to him at some point tonight, it probably is better to get the jump on it. Otherwise, we might have to stay in town at the hotel room and lose some time, potentially valuable time. One way or another, we're going to be in the woods after dark.
And there's only so long we can keep lying to our bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get our food. Does anybody need any absolute last minute things before we start headed out there? Did we want to meet with the sheriff first just because who knows if we'll have an opportunity to once we get in the woods? Call him and have him meet us at the diner or something?
Probably.
I'll try to track him down. I don't know what Deputy Fitzgerald might have been up to since I was last here, Irene says.
Yeah, there's no guarantee we can get the deputy to meet us out at Thomas's shack, is there?
No, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
But he should be living in town, so we should be able to just knock on his door. I just need to get his address.
Okay. Then yeah, let's try to tap him as soon as possible. We don't have to send everybody over there to get... Sorry,
I
what?
can't be sure that he still lives in the same place as last, so I just want to double check.
Yeah. While we handle that, I don't think everybody needs to get ready, so we should have at least 1 or 2 people getting the camping equipment ready, set up, packing bags, and just getting everything to go once people are ready so we can save as much time as possible.
I could handle the equipment.
Great. Sounds good.
I think I'll stay and help with the equipment as well. Get 2 hands on it, fill the bags up, make sure water's all taken care of. The works.
Irene nods. Anyone want to go with me to the sheriff's department, the office? Check in on Fitzgerald?
I could.
I'm gonna stay here for now. Help with the camp stuff, let's just say.
Alright. You and me then, Zio, eh?
Yep.
I would like Tristan to roll a luck check, please.
Oh, yippee. Is it this one? Yes, it is. Come on. Can you please stop disappearing? Thank you.
That's what the case is all about. Disappearing. I guess this means that you're gonna run into Fitzgerald very quickly, doesn't it, Tristan? Because that's what you want, isn't it?
Yep, well,
Lucky man.
that's all my luck.
That was all the luck you got for this entire op. It's gone now. Your luck is gone and will never come back. Alright, so you and Irene, you'll be walking into the Townsend Sheriff's Department. It says in big letters, Washington County Sheriff's Department. You have the cop shops outside and probably behind in the parking lot as well. And you're coming in there and there's obviously a desk sergeant sitting there and helping out, and it's not... Tristan, you must have seen rural sheriff's offices before. They make do with whatever they can. This is not a big place.
Yeah. I'd recognize it from when I used to visit my brother at work.
Absolutely. Everybody here knows everybody else, and if there is any crime in this kind of area, you're from an area like this, but in a different state. Drunks in Saturday nights, Friday and Saturday nights, truckers who do no good, maybe 1 or 2 people who are trying to sell some drugs to the local kids, weed or other, shall we say, minor stuff. Your police ancestors would have been much more busy in the 1920s because of all the distilleries, but now crime out here in these kinds of areas, it's not going to be the Glenridge Chiropractor, let's just say. Hopefully, you have 2 missing surveyors. Who knows what state they might be in by now, if any. But Irene will ask for Deputy Fitzgerald. And if Warren Fitzgerald is still working with the department. And as she's doing that, a man is coming out from the back rooms. He is walking towards one of the office tables in there. And then he just freezes in place as his eyes just land on Irene. And he just turns on his heel and walks back away from her, like into the back rooms.
I don't think he's happy to see you.
I think you're right, she mumbles.
Game plan, are we following him into the back room, or are we just going to let him be?
Your opera, Irene says, and it's obvious that
Your previous contact.
She groans a bit. The sergeant is looking at the two of you like, Warren, huh? That poor sucker. I don't know if he's going to be of any use to you.
Well,
Your friends from outside, you say he doesn't have any friends anymore.
you could say something like that. More of an acquaintance.
I'm exaggerating. He has a couple of friends. They're called Wild Turkey and Johnny Walker. Yeah.
What? Got it. Thank you. And
The man doesn't want to
just-
talk to you, and not much we can do, says the sergeant.
Yeah. Are we allowed to go in the back room or no?
No, you're just tourists.
Okay.
Unless
Well-
you absolutely want to start waving your badge around, which you've been specifically asked not to do.
Yeah, not gonna do that. He's just going to... I'm sure he'd be willing to talk another time. We're just gonna go. Just let him know that there's some people that would really appreciate talking to him, that really do need his help. And then he's gonna start walking away.
When does his shift end? Irene will ask, and the sergeant will say 9. All right, she says. She'll come out with you. So he's still gonna be on the shift for a couple of hours.
Yeah. And I don't think jumping him as soon as he gets off shift is a good idea. Unless...
He was not a great friend of Johnny Walker's when I was here.
It's at least worth a try. We can come back later. There's other stuff we can do in the meantime than just wait for him to come out.
All right. Do you want to collect his address or something?
Yeah, I think that'd be best, just to meet up with him later and talk with him on his home turf. Make him more comfortable at least.
That makes sense to me. Now you just have to convince the desk sergeant that you should that he should give a complete stranger one of the deputy's home addresses. What is your persuade like, Tristan?
Let me go to actors. Me. Persuade. 20.
So you're gonna take point on this then?
No. You knew him longer than me. I think you'd have a better chance.
You saw how he reacted when I came in the door. And as much as I'd love to pretend otherwise, talking to people isn't really my big thing.
Take a look at me and ask yourself if I'm one to talk to people.
I don't know. I don't know you, Theo. I've just met
I
you like a
am
couple of hours
the
ago.
muscle head. I am here to break things, break people, and scare answers out of things.
Fair enough. Alright, I guess we get back to the others then.
Yeah, one of them will have a much better chance if we do pursue this. Back to the others.
Back to the others.
It's me. I'm the others.
All
Yes,
of you are the
it
others.
is just. No, it's just Phallus. Didn't you hear?
Oh, it's just Fel.
We've all merged into Phallus.
Oh my
We are
God.
one. We are legion.
Oh no.
We are one.
Have you... Are you now
Oh.
all ooey gooeys? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Oh no.
You looked away for 1 minute.
I looked away for 1 minute.
Before the two get back, Blair's gonna mention something to Phallus and Gwen. Did you two
Yeah?
notice how nervous Irene was? Especially when the forest was mentioned?
Yes.
I feel like there's something else going on.
Yeah,
Definitely.
she said she was on a previous op out here. I'm sure there was some weird shit in the woods.
And she
Honestly,
keeps,
probably still is.
she keeps
will be
insisting it's unrelated, but I don't think it's unrelated.
To be fair, they don't have any reason to think it's related in the same way they don't have any reason to think it's anything supernatural in the first place. That's why we're out here. But more than likely, if there was a previous op in the air, this is likely some sort of residual effect. We just got to make the confirmation and then hopefully leave it at it being mundane. Hopefully we find the surveyors and they're okay. Worst case scenario, we just call Alphonse and have them send, like, I don't know, a real
It's-
team out here.
It's not going to be mundane. We will be running into something.
Has anybody actually confirmed with Alphonse that Irene is an actual agent?
I'm not sure how she'd get the phone numbers if she wasn't a real agent.
Didn't you say that there was this alternate group that was hunting you?
There's multiple groups. There's a supernatural group that somebody had to deal with, and there was these one men in black that we ran into once. But we haven't seen those people again.
We said what now?
What?
Marsh.
What about a deal? What?
Talbot was
See,
messing
Will
with
Smith is
things.
after you guys?
Yeah,
What?
Talbot was messing with things that she should have been messing with her passing. I'm not sure how well that supernatural group is connected to us still.
Yeah, but you mentioned, like, the Men in Black, like the Will Smith movie from last year. Like, what's up with that?
It's been so long. There was a mission in Arizona where they showed up and confiscated a lot of our things. And that was before we were part of Delta Green.
Oh.
I haven't, at least personally, since that mission, I haven't seen them since.
How similar was it to when the army just showed up?
Not too similar, though.
Okay.
Because the army at least gave us names and was easier to talk to. These people refused to explain and just confiscated everything.
So what I'm hearing is that there are multiple supernatural groups that want us dead with limitless resources at their disposal. One of them was even infiltrating our group, and we haven't actually confirmed that the agent that's been leading us around is with Delta Green?
Yeah, somebody should probably call Alphonse on that one.
Yeah, I don't know how long before Irene and Glen before Tristan return, so calling now might be a risk. We might have to wait until we're completely separated from her.
I could just keep an eye out the window and make sure they don't pull up.
Could I call Tristan?
Are you calling Tristan?
Yep.
Okay. Blair, are you calling Alphonse?
Yeah, if we're gonna have watch people, then yeah, I'll call Alphonse.
Roll a luck check.
Of course.
Look at you go.
Oh, God.
You will, in fact, get through. It only takes 2 signals. And then there is the answer on the other line. Alphonse?
This is Agent Zaki. I have to just quickly confirm something. Is there an Agent Irene among us?
Yes, Agent Irene is part of the group, and she is going to act as an advisor on this op.
Alright, we just wanted to double check. Thank you.
Prudent. You got a word of encouragement from Agent Alphonse Blair.
Nice.
Yeah.
The old man said you did a good thing.
Yeah. Blair's just thank you again and hangs up, I suppose.
Yep. Listen, someone is calling you.
Picking it up. Hello?
Agent Tristan, I was calling if you had any opinions on dinner.
You just had dinner 5 minutes ago. This
I
is
know.
very confused.
Answer the question. Do you have any opinions on Fist?
Seems fine. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Where do you think we should go get breakfast? See any place interesting?
I look around real quick.
Yeah.
Do I see any, like, breakfast clubs that me and Irene are walking past?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Can I get a name of one real quick?
Joe's Bacon Breakfast Joint.
Nice.
How does Joe's Bacon Breakfast Joint sound?
It'll do. Where is it?
What street am I on?
uh,
I'm just trying to keep him on the phone until he gets back.
okay.
Oh, I thought you were trying to signal me, like, where are you right now?
That too.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, so you can keep track of them until they get back. But Blair is already confirmed, so it's all good.
Yeah, Blair's just gonna give a thumbs up.
She gets back. Let's ask her on as many of the details as our previous operation in the area as we can, just in case if there is any leftovers or any echoes or residuals from whatever that was. We might be a little more prepared.
Irene and Tristan get back to the rest of the group in Townsend, Vermont, this metropolis, and among the mountains. And yeah, Tristan, who is saying anything to the rest of the group first? She's basically allowing you to do the talking, because again, it's your own.
Yeah. I'm explaining the situation, like, as soon as we met up with Sheriff and he saw Irene, immediately backpedaled and went to the back room. I do not think he will be much help unless we do some convincing. I did not push it because, as you all know, I am here to break things and scare information out of people. I'm not very good at talking. So, that's the main plan for now. He gets off at 9, so if someone wants to try to meet up with him around that area or see if we can get his address, good luck with that. I cannot. I do not trust my abilities to get such information or to convince him.
With friendlies and like knowledge of the whole kit and caboodle, as it were, if we can't convince somebody to be friendly, we're supposed to like take care of them, right? Someone with liability level knowledge is something that we can't just let slide if they're not in agreement with what we're doing, right?
Irene is looking at you. Let's not do anything that will, if you want my advice, that will stir the pot. Just keep a low profile. We can't force friendlies to work with us if they don't want to.
Could we get a phone book?
A phone book?
Yeah, surely he has to have the number.
Oh,
address
yeah,
and a phone.
sure. Yeah, you can just literally go to a phone book and look through the, yeah. So that is the easiest way to get his address.
Look, I may be young, but I'm not so young that I don't know what phone books are.
Phone books! We remember them!
I've used a phone book and that never would have occurred to me.
I even remember VCRs.
You are going to, looking through the phone book, you are going to find the address to Deputy Warren Fitzgerald. And checking that against the map, you know where it is now. Yay.
How much longer are we willing to wait for the deputy?
His shift ends at 9, Irene says, so if you want to get up to Old Thomas, we should head out right away as quickly as we can. Though, maybe it's better to go in the morning when we have a full day of sunlight. Or maybe it's... This is your opera, she says. Let's take a step back. You decide. And you have to decide how you want to utilize me as an advisor.
I think first and foremost, your previous operation in the area and the deputy's relation to it. I think it would benefit us to know that. Because ultimately, we don't know what's the cause of these disappearances. If it is somewhat related to your previous operation, even in a way you didn't expect, it would be nice to have some sort of foreknowledge.
I understand that. Alphonse has instructed me to tell you that that op is unrelated to this one. He does not want to prejudice your assessment of the evidence for this case with any biases I might carry because of the work I did in the area those years ago.
So it could be related. We just don't want to treat it as being related and don't want any evidence so that we don't have a slanted view or
Exactly.
unbiased opinion.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's Alphonse's position. And I'm gonna follow orders for now, she says. Again, for 3 of you, she is looking uncomfortable.
Then let's go ahead and get in the woods tonight. And I think it would benefit you to come with us.
Very well then. At least I can make the introductions to old Tom, right?
Of course.
She is probably gonna grab a smoke. Okay, this time it's so obvious that all of you see that she is very uncomfortable and her hands are shaking a little bit as she's taking that smoke, even as you all are getting ready to head into the woods at 7-ish in the evening on June.
Tristan notes that, and he is going to keep his hand on his long slide just in case.
I think Sarah's gonna look at Tristan and go, are all cells that... Not all cells, all operas that bad?
Last 2 I was on nearly made me disappear and die. I would say so.
Irene will
Noted.
look out. If she hears any of that, she's just gonna be like,
I should have stayed in the lab. I should have stayed in the lab.
Realistically,
Should've.
from my perspective, outside of the car crash, the last opera was cozy.
Try being lifted into the air and then having your throat torn out by razor sharp teeth that felt like they spun like a chainsaw.
No, yeah, that sounded like it sucked. But as far as what I was doing, not as bad.
At least the only death was a relatively peaceful one. Relatively.
We'll say it's peaceful for peace of mind for now.
And that it was final.
It's about as close to natural causes as any of us is gonna get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sorry
I mean,
to hear
hubris
that.
is pretty natural.
Irene, just sorry to hear that you lost someone. It's part of the joke.
I'm able to
isn't
joke about it. Able to joke about it the longer more time passes.
it? No doubt.
Yeah. I only found out it was Delta Green related until after I joined. Would have been nice to know beforehand.
Irene comes prepared too, aside from the backpack and all the hiking equipment that she has in the back of her van. She does have a pistol. She does have a sidearm properly put in a holster. There you go. And she does have a shotgun and a 30-06 hunting rifle with a scope. And all of this she will be carrying on her back. She looks like someone who has been carrying backpacks before. There's plenty of rope, there's plenty of all the mountaineer equipment that you could see. She's done hikes and mountain climbing before. That's pretty easy to see. Alright.
And then yeah, I'll go ahead and strap my shotgun to my bag as well. I didn't expect anyone would bring 2 long guns.
One is for closer encounters, isn't it? She says about the shotgun.
Yeah, fair.
These woods, the sight lines are not terribly good all the time. Sometimes you get a really nice and long view, but sometimes the sightlines are very short. And you want to be sure that you hit the sucker, don't you?
Yeah.
First night on the op, I guess we'll be trading stories, aren't we? She says. Though it will be difficult to do that in front of a friendly.
Alright.
Watched a kid get teleported into a wall one time.
Huh. This job is weird, isn't it? She says.
Yeah, it sucked for him.
Into the woods we're going, folks. How are your hiking skills?
What is the skill we would roll for hiking?
Survival?
Ooh.
Ugh.
I've
Oh,
got
that'll be
better skill.
interesting. Oh no.
I got a 70.
Good for you. I have a
Nice.
10.
Tristan takes point.
Oh no.
If he's taking point, then I will roll athletics to just keep the pace.
You know what? That's actually a possibility. That having Tristan as the Pathfinder and the rest of you go with athletics instead.
Do you want me to roll survival?
I survived
Yeah, why not?
For it. Sucks. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Is it double
I guess, like-
76? What does that
Oh my god.
That is not very common, is it?
I'm scared. Oh, wait. Oh. What?
That was
Apparently.
So everyone failed except...
I speed off
Excellent.
into the woods and I'm never seen again.
That would be sad, wouldn't it? You know what, Tristan? Your survival check, I'm actually going to give you a plus 20 because Irene is helping you find the path.
Okay.
So you are going to find the way. And
Yes.
yeah, we are out in the woods, the forests. It's an evergreen forest, and when you leave the logging road, you know, the van behind you, you will basically be sticking to deer trails and such, because there are no other trails out here. It's a bewildering maze of trees that are very often very close together. So if you're like 50 yards away from the rest of the group, you can hardly see them anymore. And for those of you who haven't been in the outback before, out in a forest, like similar forest before, it's just so easy to get lost here. There are no landmarks that you could tell. Because of the canopy, it's hard to see the sky. Even when you can see the sky is mostly gray with clouds. So there isn't a lot of... How do you tell which way is north, which way is where the cardinal directions? Thankfully, I'm sure someone packed a compass. Right, Tristan?
Yeah.
Totally. And yeah, Irene will advise you that you should be careful to avoid sticker bushes and deadfalls. Deadfalls are small crevices in the rock that become covered with a really thin sheet of dead branches and pine needles and cobwebs, so you can't really see the drops below. So you just put your foot on it and just step right through it and fall, and you can get broken anything. And if you get a broken ankle out here, hours away from medical help, on healthy legs, it can be a problem. She
death
has a walking
sentence.
staff, by the way.
Definitely gonna invest in one of those so that way I can just hit any area I'm certain enough to make sure it's not a pitfall.
Yep. It's a 2-hour walk, and now you can see that Irene is very nervous. She's constantly looking this way and that in the forest. Just you hear a branch rattle because there's a squirrel somewhere. She's looking that way, and then you hear the calls of birds. Every once in a while, you'll hear the rat-a-tat-a-ta of a woodchuck hunting for bugs in a tree somewhere. Other than that, you guys are not really survivalists, are you? The whole what is outside is you Blair experienced Arizona, didn't you?
Yeah.
But that was a desert with mountains and like mesas, which is very different from this because these mountains
Yeah.
are not mesas, they're just forests with humps in them. And the terrain is literally, as you can see here, with all the rocks and pebbles and knolls, finding good footing, having good boots here that gives you proper ankle support, really nice, because otherwise you can easily just step poorly on a rock, it rolls under your foot, and you twist your ankle. So it's not hospitable terrain necessarily. Not at all. And Irene is walking in the middle, just behind Tristan, who's taking point, giving him advice on which directions and checking the map every once in a while. Who's taking up what order are we walking in here? Single
I will
file.
take up the rear with the shotgun at the ready.
Very well.
I will say with how on edge Irene is, I will have my long slide out. My finger is off the trigger and the safety is on, but
Yeah.
it is out and almost ready.
That makes sense.
Thinks Gwen will be next to Tristan.
That also makes sense. Okay, so we have Irene in the middle, and then Tristan and Gwen, and Blair and Phallus in the back.
Yep.
You watch left, I'll watch.
Got it?
And the ground opens up underneath you and swallows you, and you've never seen again.
Woo, TPK!
TPK!
Woo!
Good story,
fun.
everyone.
The path is going to lead you mostly on the lower areas of the mountains. You're not climbing up the mountains that much. Again, if we look at the map that we have of the area, you'll see that old Thomas's shack is in fact between two mountains, in a valley between two mountains. And these dashed lines here are logging roads, so you can take a logging road quite a while and then walk the rest, which is going to be a few kilometers, and a few kilometers in this terrain is always unforgiving, but it's not like it's 10 miles to walk, a 10-mile hike or anything like that, so that would probably take a day or two in this terrain. Anyway, looming above you will be on your left Owlshead Mountain, and on your right Clastonbury Mountain, which is a good deal higher than Owlshead. Regardless of the situation, you're gonna be in the shade, basically, because the sun is setting and Owlshead is blocking the sun completely for you, so you're gonna be in a dusk-like environment as you're walking through this forest. But well, look at that. You haven't gotten eaten yet.
Keyword, yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
And And after hiking for a while, you will come out into a clearing. And Irene will shout, "Old Tom, you're out here? It's Jeannie! Hey, Tom!" And you're gonna see a really weird shack. Yes, there are literally gas pumps sitting outside the shack. It's a lodge house.
What?
And you can see a small freshwater stream in this really picturesque grassy clearing. It's just rich in wildflowers around you. And there is literally an old Esso gas pump covered in vines.
Note to self, if the creature is near here and near those pumps, shoot the pumps.
Oh, they're not functional, I think, says Irene.
Never hurts to try out.
I want one of you to roll a luck check.
All right, who's
I'm
rolling?
feeling lucky.
I already did one.
Who feels lucky?
Jeez, dude.
Not phallus, apparently. There is no response at the moment. Old Thomas is a man of the woods. I'm sure he'll be back any moment, she says.
By the look on your face and how ready you are to shoot anything, these woods are dangerous, so I wouldn't be too sure. Not that I doubt your friend's capabilities, but I like to be a realist.
Yeah, she's looking around and she's flinching a bit when you say that, and nobody knows these backlands like backwoods like he does.
Nobody implies a person. Whatever's out here isn't a person.
We don't know that yet, do we?
Call it a hunch.
You're gonna sit around there with your camping equipment for actually not very long. The sun is coming down, it's getting dark, shadows are longer and longer. There's still some like ambient light from the clouds around you, like reflecting the setting sun. When you never hear him approach, but out of the woods, you'll hear a voice suddenly saying, "If it ain't Jeannie." And this old man really lives up to the name Old Thomas. He's hunched, he's thin, he's leathery. He doesn't look a day older than 90. But he has his walking stick, and he has his 30-06 rifle on the back, and hiking clothes, and he's coming up there. Jeannie, how are you? Look at you. You don't look a day older. And she's just, Irene is just laughing. "Old Tom, good to see you." And yeah, they're hugging each other. They know each other quite well. "I see you brought some company." "Indeed I have," she says. They are part of the same group that I'm a part of, Old Tom. And this is Zio, Zyra, Zaki, and Xander, he says. "All right then," says Old Thomas. "Got that. Any friends of Jeannie's is a friend of mine. Feel free, stay the night. I have room for all of you. Welcome to Vermont. Welcome to my little place between the mountains. I'm sure you have a lot of questions or you wouldn't be all up here. Is this the same thing as last time? He says and looks at Irene. Don't know, she says. Word is to assume that it's not. Okay then, he says. Looks a bit baffled, but accepts that.
By chance, the thing before, did it make people disappear? Because there were 2 observers around this area, and then they just poofed without any trace.
Oh, surveyors. Yeah, I heard of that. Huh. Who knows? He's looking at Irene and she's just... This is their show, Tom. This is their show. We were up... Last time was up on Glastonbury. So he's pointing up to one of the mountains. And apparently these particular surveyors that have disappeared on Owlshead. So it's a
Different mountain, but the
Yeah.
beast could have migrated. Okay, we'll keep that in the back of our heads, but assume it's not the same thing.
You're the people dealing with this kind of thing, aren't you? He's gonna pour you a bunch of coffee, making Morrigan very happy indeed.
Are there any local legends about creatures that take people?
Oh yeah. I don't know if Gene told you, I'm a Panacook. So I'll tell you all about the old legends, and you'll get the real deal from me, not the stuff that the white folks believe in. They have all sorts of strange ideas. Inside his shack is a bunch of early 20th century junk and Panacook craftwork, in fact. You have a ceremonial staff standing right in there. It has furniture that is very functional. It's not terribly comfortable necessarily. He probably made a lot of this stuff himself, maybe when he was not a master crafter or something. You can't see any beds inside this house.
You stay here?
Yeah. This is where I live. There's an old stove. It's a wood stove. This is completely off grid. There's no electricity. There's no plumbing. I have water in the stream. I have all the food I can wish for here in the mountains. It's a quiet life.
Can you humor me a question real quick?
For sure.
Are these old native lands?
Of course they are. Might be
They all are, technically.
Yeah,
I
I
was
was about
gonna
to say
say.
Tristan.
I was gonna
Native
say.
American lands.
Tristan, this is the U.S. I want you to think back to history class real hard for a minute.
I never paid attention to those things.
I'm just gonna learn. Okay, Tristan. I'm gonna pull him aside for a moment. Tristan. Tristan. People didn't really settle in America, or no, I'm sorry. White people didn't settle in America until the 1600s.
I'm gonna tell you this now.
Oh,
I was not in a good headspace in school. I didn't pay attention to anything. It's a miracle I graduated.
yeah, because I passed you the notes, dumbass.
Yeah, thanks for that. Please don't expect me to know shit.
Dude, with the notes.
I
Reading
know
them?
how to.
Old Tom is blinking a little bit and looking at Irene and
Sorry.
these are the
he-
folks your group sent? You just hope they're better outdoors folks than history folks.
Apologies.
I'm good at breaking and killing things. I'm not good at the whole knowledge unless it is. unnatural or cultish in nature.
I guess that can come in handy, he says. You talk about the creature, and I can tell you I've seen... It's definitely up there. I find the carcasses. It lives on wildlife up here. And I've seen a bunch of old odd tracks. Never seen the thing directly, though.
Do you know what it is?
No, it's just a... He says, even as the coffee is getting nice and warm and everything. It's... I suppose it might be the child of the forest.
I don't like that.
That brings two creatures to mind. Can you be a tad bit more specific?
That's what we call it. Child of the forest. It's magical. It masks itself. Dang near invisible. I think it's probably intelligent. Don't know what it wants, why it's here. But I get the feeling, proprietary feeling, around Fell's Ridge. I think it's staked its territory there.
Fell's Ridge.
Yep.
And these carcasses, are they perhaps missing their skin?
It's missing some of it. They've been pretty torn up, I'll tell you that much. Has a big mouth, this thing has. Whatever it is.
So I made a point not to drink any of the coffee that he offered. I'm looking around the room. Is anybody else drinking the coffee?
He's drinking the coffee.
I'm sure he is. He made the coffee.
Irene is drinking the coffee.
I'm taking like tiny sips here and there.
Morrigan is probably guzzling. But I'm not gonna pretend that I know.
Any particular habits that this creature goes after?
Let's just say that I'm trying to keep out of its way, young'un. I've sure seen more than my share in my day, but I'm not going to the great beyond before the Creator calls me, young'un.
Obviously, I would not expect you to hunt the beast and have every answer. I'm just trying to cover the bases so that way I have a baseline to research what it could possibly be, its behaviors, hunting habits, what it leaves behind of its kills, any smells or anything it leaves behind, any residue.
No
I'm trying
smells, no residue that I can recall. As I said, I've seen a bunch of the carcasses it leaves behind. It's gotta be big though. I mean, there aren't much big game out here no more. Too much hunting around in the area. We get our deer, but that's about as big as it gets. And as for big predators, that's just not a thing anymore in these parts. White folks took care of that a while back. But
Are there no black bear in the area still?
not much, not around here, no.
Does it look like it takes its time killing them, trying to keep them alive as long as it can?
Oh no, I think it's smart. Because it stays hidden. If it would have shown itself to people by now, they would have been talking about it in town. But no, I think this thing is smart, and I think it stays hidden when it wants to stay hidden. But yeah, I think it's an ambush predator myself. It grabs them. I don't think they even know it's close by before he gets them, and it just chows down. I guess I've found like parts of animals left behind. A leg, a head, half body, that sort of thing.
Would you say by how many bodies you find that its hunger would be ravenous in nature?
Couldn't really tell. Depends on how big it is, don't it?
Yeah, I'm asking very specific questions because I know of a few creatures in lands like this and in mountains that have very specific habits. So I'm trying to cover at least those creatures first, because if it is those, we are royally screwed.
Again, the thing I'm talking about is not an Owlshead. Or maybe it goes over there every once in a while, but I ain't never seen it over there, or I've never seen much traces of it over there. Fells Ridge is where it tends to hang out for the most part, as far as I'm concerned. That's Fells Ridge right there. You know what? We're gonna put down a post-it note. In yellow, and call it Creature Territory. How about that? Which is not Owlshead Mountain. It's Fells Ridge. That's the testimonial you're getting from old Thomas, anyway. But no, I'd say the diet, as far as I can tell, again, big mouth, big creature. That's what I think. And I think that explains the traces and how often it feeds.
That's all the questions I have, if anyone wants to ask any more.
Yeah, sorry, and that's like a persistent issue that's still occurring?
Oh, I'd say this is pretty new, really. Last few years.
Okay, but the previous operation didn't have anything to do with one mountain or the other. This is just the current goings on.
When Jeannie came up here, we were up on Glastonbury. And now, apparently, these surveyors are up in Owlshead. So I don't know if this child of the forest has anything to do with Owlshead in particular. I think it sticks mostly up to Fells Ridge and Glastonbury, but since you started talking about creatures, I just thought that that's the one I know about that's currently active in the region, if you will. Yeah. But then I haven't had too much of a look on Owlshead. I try to stay clear of Owlshead just to be safe. I don't go up there.
So I guess that just adds an extra layer in that if we find out this is or is not related to that, or just a mundane nature, we can let them know. Hey, turns out it is related to that thing.
Owlshead has, I don't know if it's still a thing, but I've always stayed clear of it, just the same. See, Owlshead, at least when my youth, now we're talking a good 40 years ago, he says. I must have been, looks at Blair, about your age at the time. Young lady. First time in a long time Blair's been called a young lady.
Yep.
I was up in Owlshead, and the winged ones are up there.
I don't like any of this information. I'm glad you're telling me, but damn.
Winged.
Yeah. Of course, in those days, those were the times of Cooter.
Hooter?
Oh yeah, old Cooter McGee. He was an original, I'll let you know. Madman, yeah. And during Prohibition, he used to stalk these woods, no doubt doing illegal hooch. I was hoping to find a still and steal some booze. He just cackles a bit. And lo and behold, instead I snuck up on Cooter. He was talking to two of the winged ones. in the woods. That was at night, yeah. Up on Owlshead. I ran. I have not drunk a drop of booze since. Swear to the maker.
But you had been drinking that night?
Yeah, I had been. Yeah, that was back in the 40s. Yeah. They tracked me down to my shack and sang to me. The voices, they spoke to me. That was something else. They were definitely not human, wherever they were glowing. Anyway, they killed my dog. Threw rocks at my shack. I'm just saying, there's a good reason I don't go up on Owlshead. I haven't been up there since then, basically. That's back in the 40s and 50s, yeah.
So to confirm, 50 years ago, a DG friendly saw a strange feller speaking to quote-unquote the winged ones. They chased him back to the cabin, glowed, or I guess they were glowing. They killed his dog, threw rocks at the cabin, and that was just a thing that happened 50 years ago?
Yep. Never saw them again.
Where?
And no one thought this was related to the disappearances in the area?
Make the call, wrap it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why were we even called down here? I'm just gonna say this to Irene. The answers are...
I have a hypothesis that they just want to get rid of all of Z-Cell at this point, so they're just sending us on missions to kill us.
Irene
all
just
well.
snorts a bit and they do that to everybody. She says, it's not to kill us, it's to kill the things.
So do we just call in this information?
And one, this was 50 years ago. We have absolutely no evidence that the winged ones are still on Owlshead. Two, I said that the op that I was on here, which was on Glastonbury 3 years ago, was not related to Owlshead, and it wasn't. We weren't on Owlshead. And what happened at that op, I can say this much. I don't recognize the description that old Tom here is given of winged ones. We did not meet anything like that 3 years ago.
Yeah,
So,
sounds like it's a different entity or situation
whatever
entirely.
we ran into, I don't think it was the winged ones.
So
If
there
the
are
winged ones are
two-
still even in the area.
There are two unrelated supernatural occurrences within the last half a century in this area. And then 2 people go missing in the area who are well versed in the terrain. And it's a question whether or not it's supernatural. Pardon my impropriety here, but am I missing something?
Here's
Do
my
you have
basic
any
logic.
proof, says Irene? Do you have any proof that the disappearances are linked to the unnatural yet?
No, we should go check it out.
We have, what you have right now is, well, history. Background. The winged ones might be up there doing things right now, as old Tom experienced 50 years ago. But it might not be winged ones at all. It might be something completely different. Who knows? Until we have proof. And not just
For all we know,
circumstantial speculation, the op continues.
yeah, for all we know, the winged ones are some sort of like larval form of whatever that child of the forest is. So that might be related, but not to this particular situation. I think we should just get some eyes on the mountain.
I don't
Keep an
think
eye
so.
on the back as well.
Old Thomas, I doubt it, but might be. Our people have always left the winged ones alone and just avoided the highest points of the mountains. That's where they were. And they're glowing crabs, about the same size of a deer. They can fly, they can pass through objects, they can imitate human speech in any language, and you can still find their stones on the mountains.
So flying glowing crabs is what we're up against.
I hope not, says old Tom.
Oh my
Let's
God.
hope they just fell in a deadfall somewhere, or even better, maybe they fell in love and ran away.
That is also true.
And on
Crazier
that,
things have happened.
on that hope and a note, that hopeful note, they just ran away, the surveyors did. On that hopeful note, we will pause the case file for this time. And in a week from now, we will pick it up again with Z-Cell at Old Thomas's shack, sleeping over between Owlshead Mountain and Glastonbury Mountain, which I'm sure is going to be completely a benign sleep. He's been sleeping here for 60 years now, and only once has he been assaulted by winged ones in his shack. And that's because he was disturbing Mad Cooter McGee talking to them 50 years ago. Go figure. It's going to be a nice and comfy night out in the chilly June of Vermont mountains. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. See you next time.